A typical UAC automation workflow integrates into many different systems and tools, and UAC plays a unique role in collecting and sending data during the execution. We have incorporated observability into UAC by integrating the OpenTelemetry standard. OpenTelemetry essentially defines a standard for systems to collect and send data that can be used for performance monitoring and troubleshooting. This standard has wide adoption in the industry, and specifically with major cloud service providers and application performance monitoring tools. And today, we're going to take a real-time look at observability.
Our product, the Universal Automation Center, is a software-as-a-service application. What you see here is the data pipeline workflow, which captures incoming sales data from various cloud buckets, an AWS Cloud Database, several AWS EC2-based Linux and Windows servers, and even a mainframe as a source. What is new in our latest release is that we collect via OpenTelemetry metrics and traces for external monitoring application. The collected data can then be stored, example given in the Prometheus time series database, for further visualization, example given in the Grafana dashboard in AWS. In the following, you see a sample dashboard which I've created setting up a Grafana dashboard in AWS. As you can see, it shows various information regarding my data pipeline, like the transfer speed over time, the file transfer per status, the SQL task per status, and we can also query the extracted data. Example given, here I'm tracking the revenue of the top 5 states.
Now you're showing us this with Grafana. How do we take this data and maybe put it into other type of tools, vendor tools?
Prometheus and Grafana are both, you can use any other product for this. The only thing that what we need is this OpenTelemetry standard, and then you can use Prometheus or any InfluxDB, whatever you want there. But you can connect any other dashboard also to our Prometheus, to the Prometheus database, for example. No?
Okay.
Easiest example is if you use like MS Power BI even has a Prometheus connector.
And I think one of the reasons that we are implementing the OpenTelemetry standard is that it is able to send data, and all of the APM tools out there, the most common ones, can readily ingest OpenTelemetry data. So this we're showing with open source with Grafana and Prometheus, but the data can go directly into any of these mainstream APM tools as well. And so if you've already made an investment in those tools, you can easily pull this data into those vendor tools. Nils, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, of course. So what we have been looking at the moment was metrics data, but we can also show trace data. So trace data is to identify errors and to really deep down into the error logs. And I've actually prepared a small example on this. I know one of the tasks failed in the workflow task. Maybe you've seen it. I did not tell about it because I don't like to tell about failed tasks, but now it's good that I have it because now I can trace really where the error comes from. So if I look at my workflow, then there is this job called AWS Redshift Top 10 Cities by Sales Revenue, which has been failed. So now I'm going to go in the trace of this task and to see why it failed. So I go to my activity dashboard. The only thing I need to do is I go to the task and say right mouse button, show trace. Now the Jaeger GUI will open inside our universal controller because it's embedded via an iframe into the controller. And you see here I'm in Jaeger, and you see already there is my red bubble. So now I can drill down until I really get to the error message. No? So I see that this agent has produced the error. This is the OMS that was connected. This is it's a Windows agent which has produced the error. And I can go really up to the error message. And the last point should then be the error message, which you see here. And there is already the status description. It says connection failed. And I already see I used the wrong ODBC library. I used actually the HDBC library, which is used for SAP HANA, and I should, of course, use the one for Amazon Redshift.
Now, Nils, when you're drilling down like that, what exactly are you drilling down on? Like, what does all of those lines mean?
Yeah, in the past, what you would need to do is you would need to go through the different log files on the Unix system, which is of course possible, but you need then to have access to the system. Now the operations people, they can directly go from the controller and trace really all the log files through until they get to the error message. So it's much easier, and also everything is already connected. So I don't need to go to one log file and look at the other log file, how they connect. This is already done for you here.
I see, yeah, because in this scenario, there's multiple components. There's everything from the controller to our central messaging bus OMS and then the agent. And so we can drill down through all of those pieces to see where the error occurred. And this occurred down when it was running the integration to the database.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the powerful things about OpenTelemetry is the tracing data. That is a key feature of it because of these systems that are now more distributed. It can span everything across there and kind of really track where errors occur. So I'm glad you showed that to us.
Maybe I can add one nice thing.
Yeah.
Maybe what you see here is that the Jaeger interface is directly built into our universal controller. So this is not really limited to Jaeger. I mean, this release we have it for Jaeger, but for sure it will be also possible in the future for things like Grafana or other dashboard types. No?
Yeah.